Hello learners, in this lecture we will be dealing with creating levels and grids into the Revit project. So basically what level and grid means, okay? Levels are used to define a vertical height or story within the building. Levels are infinite horizontal planes that acts as a reference, which can be used for hosting various elements like roof, floor, walls, etc. And also we need to be careful, like whenever we associate any element to a particular level, if we modify or delete the existing level or the associated level, the changes would be incorporated into the hosted models likewise. And grids are nothing but they are annotation elements that helps us to organize our design. Adding grids into a Revit project acts like a reference and a framework for the design. Okay, and it's a basic general practice to make use of grids into any of our Revit project, just to create a good reference and framework as we progress through the modeling process. Okay, so let's get started in creating the levels and grids. Like you can see here in the project browser, level like we are under the floor plans, level 0. We have couple of floor plans like level 0 and level 1. So as you can see, in the canvas, we have level 1, that is active view, and whichever view is active, the Revit or the project browser shows the view as a bold one, like you can see here. Level 0 is highlighted, or it's shown in bold format compared to rest of the views. It represents that this view is active into the Revit canvas. So if I just double click on level 1, and you can see here level 1 is now open, or the active tab in my canvas. So you can see here, as previously only level 0 was open and it was the active window or active tab in our canvas, it was highlighted as bold. But as you can see here, now level 1 floor plan is the active window or active tab currently, so it's been highlighted and being bold into the project browser. So if I switch back to level 0, you can notice the changes. Okay, same applies to all the other views that are present into the project browser. So currently I don't require the level 1 view, so I just close it. You can just open it by left clicking 2 times, double clicking left on the view name, or simply you can just right click here, and from the list you go to open. So the view or the floor plan is open. So let's begin creating the grids and levels. So grids are associated with the plan view. So that is in the XY plane. So you can see under the architectural tab, under the datum panel, or the datum, like the datum, under the datum panel, you can see there are a couple of options, like we can create the grids and levels. But you can see here only the grid tool is been highlighted, or we are able to only access the grid tool but not the level tool. Why? So the reason for this is, like, grids, as discussed earlier, grids are associated with the plan with the plan view, that is the XY plane. So that's why grids tool is visible when we access the floor plan. And as level term deals with the elevation part, that is the Z axis. So whenever we are into plan view, it won't be visible, as the plan view only represents the X and Y plane. So whenever I go to any section view or elevation, the level tool would be automatically enabled, as you can see here. So this is a basic difference between level and grid. So first we start with creating the levels. By default, Revit has some predefined levels, as you can see here, level 0 and level 1. And this is the elevation, that is 4000 mm, and level 0 is at 0 mm, that is the datum. So if you want to change or modify in the existing levels, you can do it. Just you need to select the element or entity. Just I want to change level 1's elevation to be at 3000 mm, not 4000. So what I will do, I will just select the level. That is, you need to select the level by left click on it. And whenever you select any elements, the properties of those elements are displayed into the properties palette, as you can see here. This is the family of Revit level that we are using. So this is the elevation, that the properties of this level entity. You can see here, this is represent here as well, that is 4,000. If I want to keep it 4,000, you can keep, or if you want to modify to any value, you can do it by entering the data here. If I want the level 1 to be present at 3,000, so I'll just add value here 3,000. You can see here the same changes are being replicated or modified into the Revit canvas. If I want to change this to any other value, I can do it. See, now the level 1 is moved ahead to 4,500 mm. Just shift it back to 3,000 mm. It's okay for now. And even if you want to rename the levels, you can do it from here. Like as you scroll down the properties below, there is one field called level name. So you can just modify this. Like if I want to give it another level name, you can just rename it. I'll just make it caps level 1. So you can see here, now after renaming the view or the level, it's asking like, would you like to rename all the corresponding views? Just need to press OK. Yes. Now the name has been replaced into this level entity or level element. Similarly, we can change or modify in any other level as required. Just I will revert back to the original one. Okay. Now I have renamed the level as per the default sample example. Okay. I have a couple of levels here. You can add new level by going to the datum panel and clicking on the level tool. You can snap, you can see there is a small dotted blue line that generates when I'm placing my mouse near these existing levels. Like it's like auto snapping in Revit, and you can see the temporary dimension on the left hand side generated in light blue color, like it's representing 2500 mm for now. Like it's 2500 mm above the level 1. So if I just want to click or create a level at 2500 or 2600 mm above the level 1, just left click and generate the new level. As you can see, level 2 is generated. You have the name and you have elevation. Now you can see here the elevation is with respect to the datum and not with respect to the individual levels. You need to take care of it. As you can see, the distance between these two levels is 2500, and the distance of level 2 or the elevation of level 2 with respect to level 1, level 0 is 5500 mm. So if you check the properties of level 2, the elevation reads as 5500 mm. So we can just check that story about default. You can check these things in the properties palette for the respective level element. And you can create multiple levels as per your requirement by the same process that we use for creating the level 2. If you want to delete any level, select the level element and just press delete. It will ask by default when you create the levels using the level tool, Revit automatically generates its floor plan and certain views. So if you don't need that level, you just can go ahead with deleting of the views that are associated with this particular level. So just press OK, and you can see here level 3 is not visible. And you can similarly go for creating or copying levels. Like if I'll just try to copy this level 2 and create another level 3. So I'll just select this level 2, use the copy tool, and I want this level to be at 3200 mm. So instead of moving your cursor over, means up and down to get the correct value, you can just type it out. If I want this level 3 to be present above level 2 at 3200 mm, just I can type it out. Okay, now you can see my new level is created and it's 3200 mm above the level 2, and you can rename this as level 3. And as you can notice, when we use the level tool to create the level, the icon here is shown in blue color, and when we copy a level from an existing level, it's shown in black. So the reason for it, like it's there is no view created that is associated with level 3. Okay, for example, you can see in the floor plan we have level 0, there is floor plan of level 0, there is floor plan of level 1, there is floor plan of level 2, but there is no plan that is associated with level 3. So that's why the color is turned as black. And you can check it by right clicking on the selected element. You can just select the level 3, right click, and you can check like the go to floor option is blocked out. Whereas for level 2 and all other existing levels, which has blue color indicated, we can access the floor plan. So that's why there is a color change when we copy a certain level. So, okay, to deal with this problem, you need to just generate a floor plan of level 3. So to do that, go to view, go to plan views, go to floor plan. Like we have multiple types of plans to be generated. Like, do you want a floor plan, a ceiling plan, a structural plan, area plan, like what? For now, we just need the floor plan. So I just click on floor plan. And if you don't want duplicate to see duplicate existing elements, you can just check this. All my other levels, I have floor plans generated. Only level 3 don't have any floor plan here. So I just select level 3 and click OK. As you can see here, my level 3 floor plan is now generated. Now, if I go to the elevation again, you can see, notice the color change. Previously, when there was no view linked with this level, the color was black. Now, the level 3 has a floor plan associated with it. So there is a change in color. So basically, this is all about creating levels. You can just, if you want the icons to be present or the mark present on both sides, you can just click on the what you can say level element, and you can see this box at either ends of the element. Like if you uncheck this, the icon will be disappeared. If you just check this, it would reappear. You can do similarly for every other level elements as required. And you can also see all the ends are snapped. Both the ends, like this right end and the left end of all the levels, are snapped with each other. So even if you move any level, all the levels would be moved simultaneously. You can see like this is the ease of using Revit. You can make adjustment to the level placement or how it looks when creating the sheets or any views. Like there is a small elbow button here, like add elbow. I just click over here. You can see, you can notice like the line, but level don't change. Like the elevation of the level would be still the default one or the one which you have specified. Only its representation would differ here. Like you can adjust this. It's just for representation purpose. You can do it here as well. This is done when there is lack of space or you need adjustments for any presentation purpose. So likewise, you can adjust. There won't be any change in level elevations unless you change it in the elevation tab under the under the properties, or you can move the levels as well if you want any change in the level. So we'll take a look at all these tools in the upcoming sessions, but just to make sure we check everything that's associated with levels, I've just demonstrated a quick example. So that's it regarding levels. We'll move ahead with creating the grids. I'll go to level 0. And before that, I just delete the unwanted level. That is, I don't want level 3. So I just delete this and I will just make the elevation of level 1 as 3300. It's 3300 for now. I'll just return it back to 3000. You can either select the element and make the changes in the properties panel, or you can just click on this number that is present below the level name, that is 3300. It represents the same value as mentioned in the elevation field. You can just click it and type it out as 3000. Okay. You can either make the changes by clicking on the level element, or you can make the changes using the properties palette. Both. Either you can do this, either you can do that. Okay. So my levels are set. And now I want grids. To place grids, go to architectural tab. Under the datum panel, there are grids. So if you hover your mouse on any particular tool, there is a short guideline on how the tool works or what is the function of the tool. If I hover my mouse over the grid, you can see the name of the tool is grid, and in the bracket there is GR written. Like GR is nothing but the shortcut for the grid tools. And it reads as places column grid lines in the building design. Okay. So I'll just make use of grid, left click here. And there are a couple of options here to draw the grids. Like you can draw it in a straight line. If you want a curve, you can make use of the curve as well. Okay. So I'll just start by start the grid using the straight lines. Okay. I'll just create first a single grid. I want both the heads of grids to be visible. So I'll just check the boxes at the end, like we have seen for the levels as well. If I uncheck, then the grid labels or grid heads won't be visible. Okay, and as the grid is selected, the properties that are associated with the grids are displayed over here. The name of the grid should be 1. Okay, and now we can copy the rest of the grids, or you can create rest of the grids. I'll just use the shortcut for now, GR, as you have seen earlier. And if you just snap or try to be in line with the either end of the grid, Revit auto snaps the starting and end point, like you can see here. It is displayed with a dotted line, and there is an temporary dimension associated with it. Like the center of the grid line is 3300 mm from the grid 1. So I want the second grid to be present at 4000 mm starting from the grid 1. So I'll just type it out as 4000 and hit OK or hit enter. And I'll just stop where the grid snaps. I'll just tick this, mark my, make my grid head visible here. As you can see, you can also copy grids from one grid to another grid, selecting another grid as a reference. And I want this grid to be at 3800 mm from grid 2. So my third grid is also placed, and my last grid, I want it at 28 or 2750. I'll just type it out and hit OK or enter rather. So basically my vertical grids are set. Now I want to set my horizontal grids. So you can just click on the grid tool and place your horizontal grids likewise. So the verticals are named serially as in numerical forms. So we can use alphabets for naming the horizontal grid. So instead of 5, I'll go for A here. Okay. So you can see the changes as the name of the grid is changed. The same changes are reflected in the grid heads as well. So just copy this from A, starting with A. I want this grid to be at 2300 mm. So I'll just click over to create this. Then I want this third grid to be at 3500 mm from B. So just type it out. The temporary dimension would adjust and make the necessary modification. And my final grid needs to be present at 3000 mm. Okay. So my both horizontal and vertical grids are placed. And here also the function is same, like due to auto snapping, all the grids are moved when one grid is moved. You can check this. And here also you can make the modification using the elbow tool. If there is any presentation change as per the presentation point of view, you can use the elbow. Okay. And one more thing, like whenever you select any grid or any level, there is, you can see a lock icon at both the ends. So if you just uncheck this lock icon and move, the links between all these levels with respect to this level, means this grid or level, any particular level would be broken. So for now, there we are seeing the example of grid. So whenever I unclick or unlock the icon that was visible, there is disassociation between all these grids with respect to B. So I can move the grid B freely without any association, but there is still association present with A grid, C grid, and D grid. See, I can move it, but there is no association with B. So just when I bring it or snap it back to its location, like with the reference, reference to the other grids, it's auto locked. You can see here. Now, whenever I move it, all the grids are moved simultaneously. But when I uncheck this lock, I am free to move the grid without any association with other grids. Same thing applies to the levels as well. So this is how straight grids are modeled. If you want a grid to be in curve or semicircular shape, you can use these tools. So basically how these tools work, like when I hover my mouse over this tool, so it's like start and radius arc. the specification is given as creates a curve by specifying start point, end point, and arc radius. So just I'll click on this. I want this as my start point, this as my end point, and I need to specify the radius. So this would be my radius. So I have generated a circular grid as well. Even you can copy this as needed. So in this way, you can create horizontal grids and semicircular or grids in the shape of arc. I hope it's clear like what level and grid mean in Revit. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture.